I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Julie Murphy on the line, and she's president over at JMC Wealth Management, and she's also author of Awaken Your Wealth, Creating a PACT to Optimize Your Money and Your Life. Julie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I'm excited to get into your book today, Awaken Your Wealth. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at JMC Wealth Management. Tell us a little bit more about your practice, please.
Sure, absolutely. I like to refer to as it's no longer a practice, it's now a business, because I am now teaching other financial planners to do the unique holistic wealth management and life planning that we do for clients. Where you align your money with the life that it is that you want to live, as opposed to only doing it to maximize your return, and it may be potentially at the cost of your health and other consequences in life, which happens in many other places around the finance world.
No, that's great, and what I like about that is that you're, it's, and one thing is burnout for advisors, other things like that. It's a thing, and a lot of people kind of leave the industry because of that. So I like your balanced approach there. So I want to change it up a bit though. I do want to spend some time getting into the book. So Awaken Your Wealth, Creating a PACT to Optimize Your Money and Your Life. First off, what was the inspiration for this book?
You know, I kind of consider it almost like a global give back. You know, there are a lot of people out there that can't necessarily afford to work one-on-one with a financial advisor. And so after 25 years of doing this, I've realized the process that I work clients through, very unique. I call it the PACT process, hence the subtitle of the book. And PACT stands for, the P is, picture the life that it is that you want to create today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, not what your spouse thinks, not what everybody else thinks, but what you think and what you dream of today. That's compelling reason for change. And then the second step in the process is, how do you really accept the reality that you've created in your life? Meaning, you may have worked a ton in your life and you've done it at the cost of your family, and now you're divorced and half your wealth went out the door because you wound up paying off your spouse. It could be the fact that you didn't make enough money because you really were the coach on, you know, all your kids' teams when they were growing up, and now you don't have enough for retirement. You got student loans to send your kids to school. Or, the key is that you have to accept the reality of the life that you've created. And also in the second step of the process, it's about get back with your authenticity and who you are. I always like to say, let your freak flag fly, because you are unique at something, and so many of us have lost that in our lives because we've chased the almighty dollar to live a lifestyle that we didn't know how to get ourselves out of because we've pigeonholed ourselves there. And then the third step in the process that I walk clients through is, and people in the book, is about that you really have to make you have to choose change. You have to make that choice to actually shift your life. And then the last step in the process is taking action. And the finance industry and many other financial planners, really all they do is, say, hey, here's these action steps that you need to do. And I think it's missing all the pre-work and all the strategy beforehand. And this is what the book is about. And it gives stories and examples and everything to walk you through that process so that you can get to a healthier, more wholesome, and what I call living your life from a state of real wealth from all aspects of your life, not just financially.
So when I look through the book and I think about it, and I think about your take on this, what I like about it is that, and I've seen this more and more. So the financial industry at one point, it was looked at. I don't think a lot of the coaching and a lot of mental aspects and other things that are necessary when we think about what make up our overall financial picture. It's not just spreadsheets. It's not just an Excel sheet. And so when I look at your book and I see the Dalai Lama, I think it's the first. This is the first. I've seen couple hundred probably in my lifetime, finance books of various types, and on financial planning, otherwise, whatever. Some were technical, some were more inspirational. I think it's my first Dalai Lama reference. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I started to realize is that there are a ton of books about how to improve your finances. There's also a ton of books that are all about your spirituality and money and being abundant and prosperity. And this book is actually the blend between both of those worlds, and it's
Unique.
the bridge. And there's nothing else out there like that. When I've worked with my branding people and my marketing teams, they're like, we can't find anyone else that has, there's the ones in the finance camp and there's ones in the spirituality camp, but there's none of them that really blend those two worlds together. And that's what this is, which is why the Dalai Lama quote is right up front. And it's, it really, I always say that we work things out or we act it out, and we do it through our health or through our money. And the Dalai Lama actually really states that very well in that quote, in the fact that, here in the Western world, we spend all of our years making all this money, and then in our later years, we use that money to help us with our health. And we ignore our health all along the road. And you can even see this with, things that continue to happen in people's lives.
Mm-hmm. No, I love it, and I think it makes perfect sense. So that being said, give us one of the, and not having you choose from all of your stories, but what's one of your favorite stories that you tell in the book?
Absolutely. I have one of the stories. It's actually the story that I ended the book with, and it was, I had this opportunity to work with this person who, worked hard, provided for his family his entire life, and he finally retired. Had a tough time at 65, actually retiring. He had plenty of money. They had gotten the inheritance from, their parents. They saved their own money. They were very fiscally diligent throughout the years. But something was missing. And, in my first book, I talked about how my work with PACT that 50% of my male clients have developed cancer around their hip area between ages 55 and 65. And PACT would say that a cancer cell develops because that cell has lost its sense of purpose. And I started to look at my client base, and I started going, how did all these guys at this age lose their sense of purpose? Mm-hmm. And what I came to realize is that every one of those gentlemen who developed cancer, whether it was colon cancer or prostate cancer, it all was tied to that they got let go or lost their job, not by their choice. They were not emotionally ready to shift. And other circumstances caused the shift for them. And then their health went haywire, and it showed up as cancer. So the story at the end of my book talks about this gentleman who had worked his whole life, retired, and, I share that story with many of the gentlemen that I work with, and he then started to, do adjunct professor work and feeding his soul because he was teaching what his life work was, and that was feeding him on some level, and then all of a sudden he came up with this really rare cancer, that 97% chance that he was going to be dead within 2 years. And I said to him, well, all I know is since the day that I met you is that you really love where you grew up in Central Illinois, and you own the birth home that you and your brothers and sisters were born in. And there's something about, you grew up around farmland, you're very much into health and fitness and organic farming. And even the fact that you told me the story how you're helping the guy out down the block in the far suburb in Chicago that you live in, and he goes and he helps the guy do his farming because it's a local little organic farm. I said, you need to go create that space in that birth home and create something new. You need a new adventure. Like, you get busy living or you get busy dying. And he decided to entertain me. And he went and started checking it out, and he goes, Jewel, to actually get my birth home done the way that I want to do it, I want to keep its integrity intact, I would have to put like $500,000 into it, and the house will never sell for more than $250,000. I said, you have $5 million. Why does it matter? If it extends your life, who cares? He goes, it's a bad investment. And I said to him, I go, you've made good, responsible, fiscally sound decisions your entire life. It's okay to go off the tracks. And I'm telling you, it will be the best cure for your cancer. He is sitting here now, 7 years later, spent $500,000 on the house in Central Illinois, and he is thriving, and he is that rare statistic of that 3% that didn't die from the cancer that he developed in his system. And I swear it's because he aligned with his passion and his purpose today, because he decided to keep living and find something that makes his heart tick instead of his ego mind in doing the fiscal responsible thing, because financially he's still totally fine. And it is feeding his heart and soul like nobody's business. And they now live there 6 months out of the year down there and 6 months out of the year up here in Chicago. And it's beautiful.
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing. That story just made my day. I love it. And it's a great, and to everybody listening, just throwing this out there, he was already financially okay. He was all right. I mean, this is a money show, so I'm just throwing this out there. Like, it wasn't going to break him. He didn't go out there and just buy the most expensive car when he couldn't afford the car he had right now or whatever to make him feel better, because that's just momentary. And then you get that buyer's remorse and other things. So just to be real clear on that story, but I love the story. It's an awesome story. And it's true. I love it. And to me, to restore that house and do that thing, I mean, it's just amazing. So Julie, that being said, I can get into this. I mean, I looked at some of the rest of the book, and I mean, there's a lot of great stuff here. So final question. So two-part question.
Sure.
Number one, if somebody wants to learn more about what you're doing over at JMC Wealth Management, and what are the right types of clients and people that you work with typically, number one, and then number two, what's the best way for people to reach out and to learn more?
Absolutely. So we have different advisors in our office that help people at different entry points. One of the things that was really important to me as a firm is that we had people in different life stages that can help people regardless of their starting point, because I found there is a huge need in the marketplace to serve people at different asset levels. And so we have people who will help people in their 20s, their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and retirees. And there's different advisors that can help you at different levels, and because that's their expertise and their niche. Because a lot of advisors out there in the marketplace have this minimum assets under management before they'll even talk to you. And the reason we're able to do that is that we actually just charge a consulting fee for our time. And so it really doesn't matter how many zeros you have. We're not going to judge you on how good or how bad that you've done financially thus far. We're here to help you from where it is that you're starting from and to build you to the next point to where it is that you want to be. And certainly you can get in touch with us at jmcwealth.com. And if you're one of those people that really wants to do it more, not necessarily ready for one-on-one, or you like to do it yourself, and you've got stuff at Vanguard, but you want to readdress your strategy and stuff like that, and you like to do it yourself, go to juliemurphy.com. A lot of the holistic planning things that I'm talking about, and I refer people to strategic resources that I have that can help you on your journey, go to juliemurphy.com, and we have a resources toolbox there that and online coursework and things of that nature to help you along your journey, that if you're the one who wants to do it yourself, come to juliemurphy.com, enroll, and as we unpack mini courses and coursework, like you can take the courses with me, at large, or if you want the one-on-one help, you go straight to JMC Wealth Management.
Fantastic. Well, Julie, it's been great catching up with you again on the show and getting further into your book. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review on the Apple iTunes Store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, definitely give us a subscribe there, but leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things you're working on. And Julie, thanks again for coming back on the show.